Okay, we're doing a spark plug thread repair on a 1999 F-150 today. The one that we're working on right now is the second plug back on the passenger side, and we're going to be using the time-sert thread repair kit. It's the time-sert 5600. First step before we do any drilling or anything with the reamer is to make sure that the valves are closed on the cylinder that we're working on. There's a couple different ways of doing it. One way is removing the valve cover and checking the cam lobes to make sure that the valves are not depressed. That is a lot more work to remove the valve cover to be able to inspect that. Another way is putting your thumb over the hole while someone else turns the engine over and you feel for the compression to come up. That's not a very effective way, especially when the spark plug hole is down in the recess and it's hard to get to. Another way of doing it, which is available on our website, this is a Calvan leak detection tool, and you just simply put the rubber stopper down into the spark plug well and apply air. And once you turn the engine over to the point where the valves are closed, then the rubber stopper will pop out. This one is already at that point. The air fitting that I have right here isn't exactly the same, but I can still apply air to it and the stopper pops out. So that's how you, if you get to that point, you can check it a couple times just to make sure that it is closed, because the stopper will pop out every time if the valves are closed. So since we know the valves are closed here, then we're going to go ahead and proceed. Another thing that you want to make sure of is that the piston is not all the way at the top, because you're going to be drilling and you don't want to damage by drilling into the piston. One way of checking this to see if the piston is down far enough, if you have a video inspection scope, you can apply the wand or stick the wand down in the hole. You could also use like a long screwdriver if you can get the right angle. The flexible wand here though makes it easier to reach down in there, especially if you're working on one of the back holes. But I just marked this with my fingers how far this is down. So we've got probably a good 13-14 inches there before we reach the top of that piston, so we know that's down safely out of the way. Okay, we're going to be using the time-sert 5600, and this is a 1999 F-150, so you don't have to use the counter bore. The instructions on the 5600 say to use the counter bore on 2001 up on some applications. This is a 99, so we won't be needing it. This is the optional tool that they refer to, and by the way, this tool is included in the kit, even though they call it an optional tool. It is an optional tool that is included. So the first step that we're going to be going with on this kit is using the reamer, and the reamer will be used to prepare the hole for the tap. Alright, so basically we're going to put the reamer into the extension tool. There's an Allen on the side that helps lock that into place. So we're going to push that in and then tighten the Allen set screw, and that's going to lock this into place so it doesn't slip off when we pull it back out. So we're going to use the reamer, and we've got it locked in place, and the extension, the instructions say that you can use grease on the cutting part of the flutes there. You can do that, and it may help keep some of the debris from falling down in the engine. But my thought on that is that if the grease sticks to the metal debris and it falls down in the engine, it might also stick in there and make it harder to get out. So I use just a little WD-40 is all we need. And you can use a hand ratchet on this step you can also use an air ratchet, and the air ratchet will help speed up the cutting process. And then later on, when we get to the tap, we'll want to use a hand ratchet on that because that's a more crucial step. Okay, we're cutting a little slow with this. We're holding downward pressure whenever we're turning. Remove it as many times as needed to clean this off and get this debris off of this. The more often you do that, the better chance you have of preventing at least some of this from going down on the engine and having to deal with that later. Okay, you can see that we're probably down to about that point so far. We've got a little ways to go before the counter bore part of the reamer starts to cut. And that change in sound there, that might mean that it's at the end. We'll have to double check the tool itself. The way that the tool is designed, it won't go any further. It'll bottom out and won't keep drilling. Okay, now we're definitely down all the way. Alright, that's looking good. So what we've got here is just a regular blower and a 1/4-inch windshield washer hose that you can use to stick on the end of that. That gives you an extra length and flexibility to stick down in the spark plug hole. And once you do this, you do need to wear safety glasses, and it's also good to put a rag over the top to try to keep this from blowing back in just everywhere. So, I can already see a lot blowing out. You can see the camera like right through here. You can twist the hose around and get different angles there. And we're going to do use the shop vac also, and vacuum up any of this that's all around the hole there so it doesn't end up back in the hole. Okay, so after you've used the reamer and you're comfortable with that and you got all the debris out that you can get to at this point, next step you're going to use the same extension tool, but then you're going to put the tap in and then lock it into place the same way you did previously with the reamer. Now this tool is designed with a like a pilot end that helps guide it into the hole straight so it doesn't go crooked. Okay, when using the tap, it's better to use just the hand ratchet as opposed to the air ratchet because this is a more crucial step. You get a better feel of it, and you can better control and less chance of damaging or breaking anything if something was to bind. So. Alright, so we got the tap back out. You can see some of the debris again. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start with the shop vac first, and then the blower to try to blow out as much as we can, and then check with the video inspection camera to make sure that it's all out. Alright, so we've just tapped, and now I'm going to use the blower to stick down in the hole and blow out the debris again like we did before, trying to keep that as clean as possible, shielding myself a little bit from the debris flying back with the shop rag. Alright, so we're going to use the inspection camera again. We've just tapped the hole for the larger of the two inserts in the kit, and we'll make sure that we got all the metal out of the cylinder. Still see some right there. Alright. Alright, so we've made the threads for the largest of the two inserts in the 5600 kit, and now I'm setting up the installation driver into the extension using the set screw to lock it into place. Then one thing we're going to do is put some oil on the installation driver. I'm going to put that on there. That's going to be on the inside of the insert. Thread that on as far as you can by hand. Won't go very far, but as long as you grab a thread or two to get it started, that's good. The installation driver actually finishes cold rolling the threads, locking it into place once you get it in. The outside, you want to be careful not to get oil on the outside of the insert, and what we're going to do is put a little Loctite towards the bottom all the way around on that insert before installing it, so it locks into place. So you want to start that by hand. After you get it started by hand, it goes pretty easy there, and then you can get an extension and your ratchet so you can finish installing that. You'll find that it gets to a hard spot, and then that's the point that it's rolling the bottom of the threads and finishing those threads out, expanding the bottom of the insert, locking it into place. You'll be able to feel that, and you'll be able to turn it by hand pretty much at that point, and that way you'll know that it is done doing its job and it's ready to come out. This is where it gets a little hard. They say it's about 10 turns, and you'll definitely feel the difference. I'm trying to hold the extension, since I'm using an extension, I'm trying to hold it straight and not let it put too much sideways pressure. Alright, that's a lot easier now, so I know it's finished doing its job. You can see I can pretty much move it by hand right now. It's a lot easier. So now it's time to remove that. Okay, that's finally out. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I've just finished putting the triple oversize insert in. I'm getting the hole ready for the big cert insert, and since I had to use driver installation oil on the inside of that insert to cold roll it, I want to clean that out now so that the Loctite will adhere better. So what I'm doing is I'm just using a hose. Spraying a little brake clean in there, just enough to clean the threads, and then I'm going to put my blower into the hose and just blow that out. Alright, and then we're ready for the big cert to go in. So we got the triple oversize insert installed, and we have the inside of the threads cleaned with brake clean and air pressure to clean that out so that the Loctite will adhere better. And I've got the setting ring tool, which that goes on to the end of the installer right there. You're going to also, if you're using fully threaded inserts like come in the 5600 kit, you want to leave the setting ring on the setting tool. If you're using a partially threaded insert, then you would not need that extra little ring there. So then we'll go ahead and put the big cert onto the setting ring, and then we're going to put a little of the Loctite, a little bit on the bottom, towards the bottom of the insert, and then we're ready to install it. So once you get this in the tool and ready to go on the setting ring tool, then you're going to use this Allen to tighten up the center screw. That's going to help lock that into place, and then you're ready to install it. Start it by hand, and then use a regular ratchet. This is one of the more crucial points where I probably wouldn't recommend using an air ratchet. Okay. Alright, so after you've tightened the big cert in with the setting ring tool and the extension adapter, then you take the Allen and loosen up the center Allen bolt. And sometimes you need to use some vice grips or something to turn that Allen. I've already pre-loosened this, so that's ready to come out. You put your socket back on there, and you can use your ratchet or your hand, whichever you need to pull that out. Once it loosens up all the way, you can pretty much feel it, and then you can pull the whole tool out, and the setting ring tool comes with it. Alright, so we've got the setting ring tool back out after we've installed the big cert. Next we're going to use the smaller of the two driver installation tools. This is going to again cold roll the bottom of the threads, locking it into place. And you want to tighten the set screw on that so that when you pull the tool back out, the driver comes with it. I'm going to make sure I put some oil on there. And then we're ready to thread that in and finish cold rolling the bottom of those threads. It'll start to go easy at first, and then it'll get to a tight spot. Approximately 10 turns to finish cold rolling the bottom of the threads to lock it into place. Once it starts getting hard, you can tell. I try to not put too much side pressure on it. Crank the engine over to let the compression blow out any final debris that might be left in the cylinders that we didn't see. And then now we're ready to install the spark plugs. Okay, so these are the spark plugs that came out. This is the worst one. And you can see that this was previously repaired with a helicoil, and it just didn't hold up very well. They're not nearly as good as the solid bushing type inserts. So if you're considering doing a repair for a first time repair, do yourself a favor and don't use the helicoil, because they just don't work good for this application.